I settled for you because I thought I couldn't do better. Turns out I was wrong, she said while leaving me for her coworker. So I found someone who knew my worth. Now she's showing up uninvited to my engagement party. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. 2 years. That's how long I thought we were building something real together. I'm Mike, 28, and I work in logistics for a mid-sized distribution company. Not glamorous, but steady. Good benefits, room for growth. The kind of job that lets you plan ahead, save money, think about a future. Sarah was 26, worked in marketing at some tech startup downtown. Always talking about disrupting markets and scaling her personal brand. I loved how ambitious she was. We'd been living together for 8 months in a decent one-bedroom apartment. Split the rent, shared the chores, talked about getting a bigger place eventually. I'd been ring shopping for 3 months, had $8,000 saved up for something she'd actually want to wear. Nothing crazy expensive, but not some discount store garbage either. The plan was to propose during our vacation to Colorado next month. I'd already booked the cabin, found a hiking trail that ended at this gorgeous overlook. Sarah loved Instagram-worthy moments, and I figured a mountain proposal would give her the kind of story she'd want to tell people. But something had shifted over the past few months. She'd gotten distant, cold even, always on her phone, always stressed about work, always too tired to talk about anything real. When I'd bring up future plans, maybe looking at houses, or what kind of wedding she wanted, she'd change the subject or say she was too busy to think about that stuff right now. I thought it was just work pressure. Her startup was in some kind of funding round, and she'd been putting in crazy hours. She'd started going to networking events, staying out late, coming home smelling like expensive cologne that definitely wasn't mine. When I'd ask about her day, she'd give me one-word answers and disappear into the bathroom with her phone. Just work stuff, Mike. You wouldn't understand the dynamics. I tried harder. Started cooking her favorite meals, doing more around the apartment, planning date nights she'd inevitably cancel. She'd critique weird things. My jeans were too relaxed. My friends were unmotivated. The restaurants I picked were trying too hard. I figured she was stressed and taking it out on me. That's what couples do, right? Weather the tough times together. 3 weeks ago, she mentioned this guy Derek from work, some hotshot account director who drove a BMW and had connections in the industry. Derek thinks we should pivot our whole Q4 strategy, she'd say over dinner, barely touching the pasta I'd spent an hour making. Derek got us into this exclusive client dinner downtown. Derek's so smart about market positioning. Derek. I started making jokes about her work husband, but she didn't laugh anymore. Last Sunday, she'd been out all day at some work friends brunch that apparently lasted until 9 p.m. I'd made dinner, set the table, opened a bottle of wine. When she walked in, she looked at the setup like I'd created some kind of trap. Sarah, we need to talk, I said as she kicked off her heels. I feel like we've been off lately. Are we okay? She paused halfway to the bedroom, didn't turn around. Actually, Mike, yeah? We do need to talk. Something in her voice made my stomach drop. She walked back to the living room, sat on the edge of the couch like she might need to run. I stayed standing. I've been thinking a lot lately. About us. About what I want. She looked at her hands. And the thing is, I don't think this is working. What do you mean? Is it something I did? We can work on. Mike, stop. Just stop. The way she said my name. Like it was exhausting to even say. Look, I need to be honest with you. She finally looked up, and her eyes were completely calm. Not sad, not conflicted. Just decided. I settled for you because I thought I couldn't do better. Turns out I was wrong. The words hit like cold water. I actually took a step back. Seeing someone? For how long? 3 months. She said it like she was telling me the weather. And before you get all dramatic, this isn't some fling. He's what I should have waited for. Derek. She nodded. And honestly, I'm not sorry it happened. I'm sorry I waited this long to do something about it. I sat down hard on the chair across from her. 3 months. While I was saving for a ring, planning a proposal, building what I thought was our life together. So this whole time, when you said you loved me last week, what was that? I did love you. In a way. She shrugged. You were exactly what I needed when I was figuring my life out. You're safe. You're reliable. You take care of things. But I figured it out now. And Derek and I, we just make sense. We're both ambitious, both driven, both going somewhere. And I'm not. Mike, you work in logistics. You get excited about optimizing delivery routes. Your idea of a perfect weekend is watching Netflix and maybe going to Home Depot. She wasn't even trying to be cruel. This was just how she saw me. Derek's building something. He's got vision, connections, ambition. He makes me want to be better. I thought I made you want to be better. You made me want to be comfortable. There's a difference. I stared at her, this woman I'd been planning to marry, and realized I was looking at a complete stranger. When do you need your stuff out? I'm moving in with him next weekend. I already found someone to take over my half of the lease. Of course she had. 3 months to plan her exit strategy while I was picking out engagement rings. I went to the bedroom and came back with the small velvet box I'd been hiding in my sock drawer. Set it on the coffee table between us without opening it. I was going to propose next month. In Colorado. Guess you saved us both some embarrassment. For the first time, she looked uncomfortable. Mike, I'll stay at my brother's place this week so you can pack. Leave the key on the counter when you're done. I grabbed my work clothes for the next few days and walked out. Didn't slam the door, didn't yell, didn't ask her to reconsider. What was the point? She'd already made her choice 3 months ago. The week at Danny's place was weird. He kept asking if I wanted to talk about it, get drunk, key her car, something. But what was there to say? She was right about one thing. We didn't make sense anymore. Maybe we never had. I returned the ring and used the money to pay off my car loan. Told my parents and friends the simple truth. Sarah and I broke up. She's with someone else now. I'm handling it fine. Most people wanted details, wanted to comfort me or trash talk her. I didn't give them ammunition. I blocked her on social media but didn't post anything dramatic or delete our old photos like some scorned teenager. Just quietly removed her from my life and focused on work. Funny thing happened over the next few months. Without constantly worrying about making Sarah happy, I had all this mental energy I didn't know what to do with. I started picking up extra projects at work, volunteered for the assignments nobody else wanted. Turns out I was actually pretty good at problem solving when I wasn't second-guessing every decision through the lens of, will this impress my girlfriend? I started going to the gym with Danny, not to get revenge hot or win her back, but because I realized I'd stopped taking care of myself. Started reading again, took weekend trips to places Sarah had always found boring. Went hiking, visited museums, drove through small towns just to see what was there. 3 months after she moved out, my boss offered me the operations manager position. Better pay, better hours, actual leadership responsibilities. The old Mike would have called Sarah immediately to share the good news. New Mike took himself out to a nice dinner and enjoyed the quiet celebration. Sarah texted me twice during those first few weeks. Hey, how are you doing? And later, hope you're well. I didn't respond. What would be the point? Through mutual friends, I heard fragments. Derek's startup was burning through investor money. Sarah had been laid off from her marketing job when the company downsized. She'd moved in with roommates again, couldn't afford the upscale lifestyle Derek had introduced her to. I didn't feel bad for her, but I didn't feel good about it either. It was just information, like hearing about a storm in another state. Then I met Emma. Danny dragged me to his girlfriend's birthday party, and Emma was there. She's a nurse at Children's Hospital, 5 years younger than me, with dark hair and this laugh that made everyone around her smile. We talked for hours about books, about traveling, about the volunteer work she did on weekends. So what do you do? She asked. I work in logistics. Basically make sure stuff gets where it needs to go on time. That sounds really important. I bet people don't realize how much planning goes into just making life work smoothly. I almost laughed. After 2 years of Sarah treating my job like some embarrassing secret, here was someone who actually got it. Emma didn't need me to entertain her, impress her, or prove my worth. She liked hiking and quiet weekends. She thought Home Depot dates sounded fun because she was fixing up her own place. She made me remember who I was before I started trying to be good enough for someone who was always looking for better. 8 months after Sarah left, she started trying to come back. First, it was casual. A text congratulating me on my promotion, which she must have heard about through someone. I deleted it without responding. Then she called me at work. Mike, it's Sarah. Can we talk? Hi, Sarah. I'm at work. I know, I'm sorry. I made a huge mistake. Derek wasn't what I thought he was. I'm seeing someone now. I hope you're doing well. I hung up and went back to my spreadsheet. But she didn't stop. A month later, she was waiting by my car in the parking lot after work. I almost didn't recognize her. The polished, ambitious woman who'd left me had been replaced by someone who looked tired, uncertain. Her BMW was gone. She was standing next to a beat-up Honda Civic. I know I don't deserve this, But can you just listen for 5 minutes? I looked at her, this person who used to be the center of my world, and felt nothing but mild inconvenience. Sarah, I'm meeting someone for dinner. I need to go. Derek he wasn't what I thought. You were right about him. I never said anything about Derek. No, but you would have been right. He was seeing other people. He's broke now, his company failed, and he wasn't a good person. I'm sorry that happened to you. Are you? Because I threw away the best thing I ever had. I was stupid and shallow, and I'm sorry. I unlocked my car. Sarah, I'm not angry at you anymore, but I'm not interested in revisiting this. But we had something real. You said you loved me. I did love you. Past tense. Can't we at least try to be friends? I got in my car and rolled down the window. The Mike you knew doesn't exist anymore. And honestly, I'm grateful for that. She kept trying. Through mutual friends, through LinkedIn messages, through showing up places she knew I'd be. Our friend Tom called me one day, clearly coached. Hey man, Sarah's really struggling. Maybe you could just talk to her? She's in a bad place. Tom, I'm not responsible for Sarah's happiness. I never was. Come on, you two were together for 2 years. Doesn't that count for something? It counted for exactly what it was worth to her, which was apparently not much. Emma knew about Sarah, of course. I'd been honest about my last relationship from the beginning. Does it bother you that she keeps trying to contact you? Emma asked one evening as we cooked dinner together in the house I'd bought 6 months ago. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. More like confused. I keep thinking about what she said, that she settled for me, and wondering why she'd want to settle again. Emma stirred the sauce and considered this. Maybe she realized settling for a good man isn't actually settling. Maybe, but I'm not that man anymore anyway. No, that guy needed her approval to feel good about himself. I don't need anyone's approval anymore, including hers. Emma smiled. Good, because I like this version better. In December, I proposed to Emma. Nothing Instagram perfect or elaborate, just the two of us on a quiet beach during a weekend trip, with a ring I picked out because it reminded me of her, not because it would impress anyone else. She said yes, and we planned an engagement party for January. Small thing, close friends and family, at a nice restaurant I could actually afford now that I wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. Sarah showed up uninvited. I was talking to my dad when Emma touched my arm and nodded toward the entrance. Sarah stood there in a black dress that probably cost more than she could afford now, looking around like she was searching for something she'd lost. She approached while Emma was in the bathroom. I had to see this for myself. You're really doing this. Sarah, you need to leave. This is my engagement party. She seems nice. Very different from me. Yes, she is. Do you ever think about what we could have been if I hadn't screwed it up? I looked at her, really looked at her, and tried to find some remnant of the feelings I'd had for 2 years. Nothing. Not love, not hate, not even curiosity. I don't think about what we could have been. I know what we were. What does that mean? You were right about one thing. You were settling. But so was I. Emma returned then, carrying 2 glasses of wine. She saw Sarah and her face lit up with genuine kindness. You must be Sarah? Mike mentioned you might stop by. Congratulations on your new job. Sarah stared at Emma like she was trying to solve a puzzle. I watched her take in Emma's easy confidence, her natural beauty, the way she handed me a drink without thinking about it, like taking care of me was just something she did. Thank you, Sarah said quietly. You too, you look happy. We are, Emma said simply. She wasn't rubbing it in or trying to make a point. She was just stating a fact. Sarah mumbled something about congratulations and left. I didn't watch her go. Was that hard for you? Emma asked. I put my arm around her and looked out at our friends and family celebrating our future together. Not really. I barely recognized her. And that was true. The woman who'd left me 18 months ago, who'd called me boring and safe and not good enough, she didn't exist anymore. Neither did the man who'd believed her. I'd spent 2 years trying to be worthy of someone who'd already decided I wasn't worth keeping. Now I was with someone who saw my worth without me having to prove it. Sarah had been right about settling, just not in the way she thought. She'd settled for someone who would chase after her validation instead of waiting for someone who would value what she had to offer. I'd settled for someone who made me smaller instead of waiting for someone who helped me grow. The difference was, I'd learned from my mistake. Based on her showing up tonight, desperate and alone, it seemed like she was still making hers. Emma squeezed my hand. Come on, your brother wants to make a toast. I followed her back to our table, to our life, to the future we were building together. Behind us, the door closed on everything I used to think I wanted. And I'd never been happier to be wrong. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.